Guys, so I was actually stunned. A ton of people wanted me to do a finger knitting tutorial, so I will do that now. After I'm done, I'm going to put this in my story, and it's going to go in my highlights under crafts, and I will also be putting this up on my blog. Unfortunately, I've been having issues with Instagram. They won't let me put a link in my profile anymore. I've been trying to resolve this issue for over a month now with no luck. So I won't be able to put the link in my profile. You'll just have to go find my website on your own. It's runningatighttrip.com. If you have any issues finding it, just DM me. I'll be happy to send you a link. But yeah, so we'll see how this goes. I've never done a tutorial before, but here we go. So what you're gonna need is just a skein, which means like a bundle of heavy or weight yarn. So yarns are weighted. This is a number 6. It's kind of like a bulkier knit, which is what you want because you want your scarf to be thick and fuzzy and warm. So I actually don't even have a full skein here. I have like a remnants. I'm not gonna make a whole scarf. I'll show you the steps, but I don't need another scarf. I have so many, so I'm just gonna make like whatever I can with what I've got left here. Okay, so first you want to like unravel a good amount of yarn. I always kind of do overkill, but that's just me. So then take like a good portion of it, and you want to tie a little slip knot, I think it's called, so that it's big enough for your finger. So you just take it and you slide it onto your finger. And then you've got your 2 ends of yarn. Technically, like, people like to call this the working end because it's the end where you've got more yarn. And then you've got your kind of little tail here. And so what you're gonna do is, this is the part that's the most confusing. I'm gonna try and explain it the best I can, but not really sure how it's going to go. So you wanna take your other hand, the hand that's not attached to the yarn, and put your pinky and your thumb through so it looks like this. And then you're going to take your working yarn here, and you're going to take it through and grab, oh no, I'm making a mess because I'm trying to explain it. So, and you're going to make like a loop. I know that was a terrible explanation. I'll try and make the next one better. But see, now you can see that I have 2 distinct loops on my finger. Okay. So now let me try and explain this better. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully you'll get the gist. So you're going to take it like you did before, and you're going to go and you're going to grab your working yarn, and then take the part that's around your thumb through to make another loop. And then you can kind of pull on the strings, tighten it up a bit. Seriously, this is the hardest part. After this, it is so easy. So then, again, you do this as many times as you want. I typically just kind of try and go for as many as I can fit on my finger, because the more that you have, excuse me, the more that you have, the thicker your scarf is going to be. So right now I've got 4. You can kind of see a scarf starting to form, maybe. You go again, like this, and then, oh, now I'm messing up. Yeah, this is the hardest part. I mean, you can Google it. There's tons of tutorials out there that might make it easier. If I could, I would put the camera on my side so I can show you how I am doing this, but it's not likely to happen just because I don't know how I would logistically arrange that with my tripod. So then, and let's see, so what is this? It's important to kind of keep track of how many you have. Right now I have 6 distinct loops. I'll probably try to go for 8 for this scarf. Let's see. And as you can see, like, my tail has become shorter because I'm using up that excess yarn. So there we go. And last time I'm going to be doing this, so I make my thing, I grab the working yarn, and I take the tail end through, And now you can see my tail's nice and short. That's good because I hate to have extra tail at the end, just because it means that like that's yarn that you couldn't actually use in the scarf. Okay, so now you can see I have my whole row of, my first row of scarf. Now is the part where we actually get working on the scarf. So you take your working yarn, you kind of need to loosen some more at this point because you've probably used through what you loosened in the first place. And you're going to take this, the working yarn, not the tail. The tail is just going to hang there useless now. We don't need to do anything with the tail at this point. You're going to take your yarn and you're going to go through the first loop. You're going to pull it right off your finger. And see, now you've got that yarn going through the loop. You stick your finger in that loop. So now your loop is on your other hand and you've got kind of a little connection there. So you're going to do the same thing again. Take this extra yarn here, through, and now there's 2. So this is why I always sit here and I'll count. Later on when I get going faster, once I've explained it, you'll see me sitting here counting under my breath. That's because that's just how I do it. So 4, then you take your yarn again, through. And this is all it is for the rest of the scarf. Well, until you get to the end, and I'll have to show you how to cast off at the end. There you go. There you go. And, oh, and you gotta be careful, especially, like, it's so easy for the loops to fall off your fingers, and then it's just a mess. There, see, so you can actually kind of see already, we've got a little scarf forming. So then you're just gonna keep going in this manner until you run out of yarn. So there we go. I'm just gonna slide them off my finger. And as you can see, like, I can do this so quickly. I've made so many scarves. This is really nothing. And see, now we've got our 3rd row. But don't expect to be going as fast as me. It takes a lot of practice. I seriously have made so many of these and given them as gifts over the years. So yeah, it takes practice, but you will eventually be able to fly through this like me and make a scarf in less than a half hour. And they are the greatest gifts at Walmart. You can get the yarn for like, I think it's $2 a skein, and you can make one scarf with one skein. So yeah. So there's my 3rd row. Now we're gonna keep going in the same way, just fingers through. Okay, and after this row, I will just speed up and do the rest until I get to the end, and I'll show you how to cast off. Okay, I'm going to do one last row, and then I'm going to cast off only because I'm reaching the end of my yarn. If you were making a normal scarf, you'd obviously be doing this for much longer, just because you'd be making an actual human length scarf. You can also, like, as I'm using a half a skein, you could easily, like, tie another skein onto this one and keep going. If you only had a half a skein and you wanted to make a scarf and you had like another half that was a different color, you could tie that on and keep going. Or if you just didn't want to waste your half skein, as I am, you could tie more onto it and keep going so you could make an actual scarf. So as you can see, it's got this really nice chunky-ish knit. This is like the one side. You can kind of see the actual knit pattern. On the back, it's just like a nice knit scarf. But yes, so now that we've reached the end, I will show you how to cast off. This is actually something I didn't learn for the longest time, so my first few scarves, the endings weren't pretty, and I feel bad for the people I gave those to as gifts, but you know, it is what it is. But here we go. So we're going to go same way we've been doing. So I left like a ton of yarn. You really don't need to leave this much at the end. I recommend it when you're starting though, just because if you leave too little, then you're gonna have to go back and undo your stitches, and it's not as easy as it sounds. So just leave extra, be cautious, you know, unless you want to just go for it. I recommend leaving a good amount. Okay, so to cast off, you're going to go the way you've been doing and make a loop. And then you're going to make a second loop on your other finger. So you've got on 2 fingers here, 2 loops on one. And as I did 8 loops, I've got 6 on the other. So now you're going to take this first loop, the loop that's closer to your actual hand, and go over and drop it. So now I've only got 1 loop on this hand. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take my working yarn here. See the tail's at the bottom now, he's being useless. I'm going to take the working yarn and I'm going to make another loop as if I was making the scarf. And now the first loop is going to go over and fall again. So now I've only got 1 loop on this hand. And as you can see, like the end of the scarf is like kind of being tied off. You can't really tell if it's only 2 loops, but as I get further, you'll be able to see. Now another loop, and I'm gonna go over it. And then again, another loop, 2 loops, over. And see, now you can kind of see like how the scarf is being like ended. It's not gonna unravel. So now another loop, and then over. Now we're almost to the end. Another loop. So there's my 2 loops. You can't really tell. There you go. And there. And last time. And over. And so now I've got this 1 loop left. I normally just take my working yarn and I go and I tie it into a knot. You can't really tell what I'm doing, but I promise it makes sense. I just tie it so that it's tied off, and look at that. See, you've got a nice, smooth, like, cohesive end to the scarf. As you can see, mine's like not a scarf. It's basically like a foot-long piece of knit material. But yeah, so this is what the first end looks like. This is your little tail. And then the back side, the front side. As you can see, I've got plenty of working yarn left. I really did not need to leave as much as I did. I just err on the side of caution. And now I will show you, if you wanted to make an infinity scarf, you could simply fold it in half and then take either your working yarn, if you had extra, or your tail, and weave it through the stitches. It makes more sense if you are looking at it on your own. You could weave it through the stitches and then it would stay as an infinity scarf. Yeah. You could also try and make a hat. I'm not sure how it would work out for you. I've tried a couple of times to finger knit a hat and I have yet to figure out a way to do it. I guess I'm just not at that level yet. But yeah, so you have made a scarf. I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial and that it made sense. I tried my best to explain it. But if you have any questions, please message me, DM me. I am happy to help in any way that I can. But yeah, I hope that you found this informative. As I mentioned, I will be putting it on my blog, and I will also put it up on my story highlights. So all you have to do is go to my profile and click on the story highlight that says crafts, and you'll find it there as well. Yeah, so happy knitting!